Welcome back. Well, that was the Hangout. So much drama, so much information, but of course you should expect that from a topic that has literally got people scratching their heads. But let's shift our attention back to the studio, and we're being joined by Mrs. Shola Salako. She is the president of the Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
I've seen your campaign, and actually it was necessitated by complaints by people due to bank charges, and all that. The charges are actually wide, but let's just generalize them and move on, because there was a bit of expansion on that on the Hangout. But coming to you now, what do you make of it? Because a lot of people are talking, of which is why your foundation necessitated this. I mean, came about this this
No
movement.
banking
Exactly.
movement.
But first of all, let's talk about the charges. What do you think about them?
Well, the charges are as much of a surprise to us as it has been to Nigerian consumers. You would expect that in the banking industry, before you would take decisions to move charges or change charges, the sector regulators and participants or stakeholders would spend a lot of time explaining what these charges are, enlightening consumers about it, and preparing consumers for those charges. But we didn't get any preparation. One minute we woke up, and one day we woke up, and the charges are there. And before we could say, what is this? We're already being charged. And that's what a lot of consumers are complaining about. Now, quite a number of these charges they don't understand. Where banks charge your account for services they don't explain. And when you write and ask them, why are you charging me for this? This doesn't make sense to me. They say, oh, CBN approved it. So we're wondering on whose side CBN is. Is CBN supposed to be so biased as to lean towards the service provider at the expense of the consumer, when the CBN recognizes that the bankers are not altruistic businesses? They are in business to make profit. And so when you give leeway or give approvals for them to charge for whatever you explain, you think they're charging for, and consumers don't understand what they're paying for.
So let's just get something straight. Who's your grouse with? Is it the CBN or the commercial banks?
The commercial banks and the CBN, because the commercial banks hide under the cover of the CBN to charge this, to make these charges on your accounts. But what the commercial banks do in excess of what the CBN approves of them is one of the reasons why we are really angry about them, with them. Because the CBN doesn't say it is all right for you as a commercial bank to charge a customer 210 naira for coming into your banking hall to make a transfer between the customer's accounts. I have two accounts, savings and a current. So I walk into the bank and say, give me a transfer form. I want to transfer from A to B. And you say, oh, that form costs 210 naira. For what? How was I supposed to access my money if I cannot walk into your environment? The banks are taking advantage and charging excessively.
Couldn't you have done that online?
Not everybody has the capacity to do online transactions. It's not everybody who is online savvy, and they still need to move money. They still need to do transactions, and they need to walk into the banking hall. Look at the issue of ATMs. You go into a bank, you want to withdraw 70,000 naira. The bank says, oh, anything below 100, you have to do at the ATM. The banks don't have enough ATMs to go around their customers. So you have to use some other bank's ATM sometimes. And when you do, you are levied by 65 naira. Though CBN says 65 naira is on the third transaction on that other ATM, consumers are complaining to us that they get that charge from the first time they use another bank's ATM. Now, I want to withdraw 70,000. All the ATMs are programmed to only dispense 20,000 at a time. So that means I have to do it 3 times or 4 times. And each time I'm being charged 65 naira.
But the CBN also has a portal where people can report these cases. Have you looked at that portal? Have you in any way maybe collaborate with the CBN to address these issues? The
issues are on a scale that the CBN portal of complaints cannot handle. The people who do get to complain to CBN are people like businesses who have a large amount of money and they can follow through on the process. How many consumers with 100 naira excess charge or 500 naira excess charges can make a report to CBN, and the CBN would have time to deal with it? This has become institutionalized excesses, and we feel that CBN should be proactive. CBN shouldn't be sitting down and waiting for us to engage them. CBN should be looking out to ensure that we are not being exploited in the first instance. If CBN goes into the banks and say, give us your schedule of fees, periodically, randomly, you'll be able to catch them in wherever it is that they are making all these sharp practices.
All right, so now that you know that it is CBN that's supposed to take the forefront, I mean, to lead, to make sure that Nigerians are not taxed, you are declaring a no banking day, from what I understand. And that is going to be affecting the commercial banks, not the CBN.
It will eventually affect the CBN.
And in the long run, but the commercial banks will feel the most
First,
of the
because
heat.
they are the ones who are taking advantage of their customers, because they know the customers a great percentage of them don't check back on what transactions they do, and a lot of them don't know that they have a right to question it. And when they do question it, they just get this very officious, this is CBN charges, and that's it. And the customer feels, oh, if it is CBN charges, then that means it must be by the law. And the customer is upset, but doesn't know where to vent that anger and to indicate that we don't want this. So this movement is an attempt to draw attention to the fact that majority of Nigerians don't want the way the banks charge them. So we want CBN to take a proactive step and review this. And when they are doing this review, it is important that the consumers also have a voice at the table. Because whenever you have these reviews go on, it's within the bankers committee. No consumer body. We have CPC, Consumer Protection Council there. We have consumer associations like ours and many more that they could engage to say, sit at the table. Just highlight for us those things that may not be consumer friendly, so that we take all of that onto
consideration.
Because we're coming up with the policies. We don't get to hear about the policies until the policies are being implemented, and we are the ones who pay for it. Well,
Mrs. Shola Salako, President, Consumer Advocacy Foundation of Nigeria, thanks for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts. I really hope your
banking day.
Oh, no, not the banking day. I mean, not side with that. But I just hope that your agitations, I'm a bank customer as well, so I just hope these agitations will bring about the required and desired results.
We are hopeful.
Thank you very much for coming once again. Yeah. Well, that's the program. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we do see your comments. That's through our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, as well as Google+. We'll take a look at some of them and also review the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please join us again.
Topping the charts from the bottom in this week's most viewed videos is the protest that erupted after the death of a student at the Yaba College of Technology.
They took her to FMC or what, I don't know. I don't know what they were saying, that they refused to attend to her because of money, that they needed 5,000 naira before they can attend to her.
In fourth place is the interview of the Oni of Ife talking about solid minerals.
I like to practice what I preach. The beads I'm wearing, I went as far as Benin Kingdom to go and exploit the beads. People don't wear it any longer, but it's made in Nigeria, I'm proud to say it. The gold in between it, I took it from Mokuro waters in Ife, and it's one of the most purified gold in the world. It's a 23.9 karat gold, raw.
Taking the third spot is Chairman of Capital Oil, Dr. Ifeanyi, maintaining that he knows not who Colonel Sambo Dasuki is when he was asked about the Dasuki Gate. Sitting in second place is Nigeria's former aviation minister, alleging that the current PDP chairman, Ali Modu Sharif, has links with Boko Haram.
Inú wọn náà dùn, so inú mọ̀ mi dùn kò sí problem pé wọ́n máa fàdúrà ràn mí lọ́wọ́ pé àdúrà ló ṣe gbogbo nǹkan láyè pé àwọn máa fàdúrà ràn mí lọ́wọ́ pé kí n má bá wọn jà kí n má.
And in first place is the fairy tale story of a bread-selling photo bomber whose fame continues to wow the minds of many.
Inú mi dùn gan ni o. Inú mi dùn gidi ni torí orin yẹn ṣàn wá lọ́tùn lósì, so inú mi dùn gan ni.
Well, there you go. Those were your contributions to the program. Please keep them coming. However, within this context, financial stability concerns should focus on ensuring that banks can sustainably discharge their responsibilities to their customers at the lowest cost possible, rather than have the regulator support policies that effectively act as taxes on the banking public. Well, that's it on the program. Do remember it continues via the social media addresses showing on your screen. Once again, thank you to Uni Thompson, who stood in for me while I was away. I am Victor Matthias. See you next week.